Just imagine that you are a child of whatever age. I would say 8 years old might be a pretty good age for this. And you put an art project together. And you're walking home feeling very proud of your artwork, and you're planning on giving it to me. I'm your mother. And you can just see me wanting to display it on the wall. But on your way home, you run into Bobby, and Bobby has problems with aggression. And Bobby comes up to you, and there's some kids around, and it's a rainy day, kind of like today, a wet day, dreary day. And he comes up to you, and he grabs your artwork and says, "You call this artwork? What a loser," and pushes you, and you stumble back, and you fall, and your artwork's on the ground. And you know, you can hear some kids in the background laughing, and so you pick up your artwork, and you know what it's like to be a kid. You don't cry when you're out there. You wait till you get home. And you come in the door, and I'm right there ready to listen to you, hopefully. So I'm going to try a few different responses, and you just tell me how I do. So you come in the door, and you say, "Mom, I was walking home, and Bobby came along, and he took my artwork, and he pushed me down, and he ruined it." "Oh, wow, sweetie, really?" "Oh, yeah. Oh, you know what, sweetie? I've made some popcorn. Would you like to have a little popcorn?" No? That's not good? Okay, so I'm not paying attention. This response is basically ignoring, distracting. It's kind of like pretend listening. You know, pretend listening is it's a listening style that actually is probably the worst, because many kids used to come and see me and say my parents never listened to me. And I knew that wasn't true, but it's because of the pretend listening. Now, if we were to listen to our kids all the time, we would lose our mind. We would. I mean, some kids more so than others, just talk and talk and talk, you know. Actually, adults do that too. I think it's fine to say, "I actually can't listen right now. I would like to, but not right now." Now, if it's a young kid who's been injured, that's not going to blow over very well. That's not going to work. But, you know, in other situations where they really need that listening and you can't do it, you can just say, "I can't do it." And, you know, I remember once getting ready for a workshop, and I had a lot of things going on, and it's Saturday morning, and, you know, my partner starts talking to me about what he's got to do that day, and I'm trying to listen, but my mind is full. And then finally I just had to say, "You know, I actually cannot listen to you right now. My mind is full of what's going on." And he basically said he didn't care either, and he kept talking too. So I just thought, well, what is this listening stuff about? Okay, I'm going to try again. So you guys are still with me here? "You know, sweetie, that's okay. You don't have to be so upset about it. I mean, you already got your mark for the project. Just give me a smile. Maybe you're upset because you were hoping to be friends with Bobby. Could that be it? No? What am I doing? I want you to label the listening don't so that you can recognize if you do it yourself. That's part of learning to listen, is learning how not to listen. What am I doing there? Maybe you just want to be friends with Bobby. Sorry? Yep. Offering a little bit of advice. Dismissive? Completely dismissive. You'll notice all of these are completely dismissive, yeah. And then kind of analyzing. So you ever have that experience? This relates to all ages and all relationships. You know that. This is under the parenting. It's all relationships. You ever have that experience where you're just talking to someone and suddenly they start analyzing you and say things like, is that that time of the month? Or did you just talk to your mother on the phone or something? You know, is that why you're so upset? And while that may be true, who wants to be analyzed when you're just talking? So this is about how to listen. Just listening. Okay, I'm going to try again. Are you guys still with me? You're all right? I haven't traumatized you. Okay, well, you know, life is kind of like this. The world is full of people who do not care about others. These kinds of things happen to everybody. What's wrong with that? It's true.
Minimizing it?
I'm sorry?
You're minimizing it?
I'm minimizing it.
Yeah, unique to them.
It's nothing new.
There's nothing unique about you.
Nothing unique about you. This is life. Suck it up, Buttercup. You better learn to deal with life because this is the way it is. How depressing. Now, it could be that this is true. We could possibly even say something like this, but not when we're supposed to be listening. And that is the point to this. When you're listening, you're just listening, not doing this stuff. Doing this stuff means you are not listening, and you're going to get a negative reaction from the person standing in front of you. Okay, let me try again. Okay, this one you're going to like. You know, Bobby's father picks on him a lot, and I think they're going through a separation. So, you know, I think that explains why Bobby can be fairly aggressive. What do you think? The message is, well, he's going through a hard time. So, you know, you've got to let him get away with being abusive. That's actually the message that goes with that. Pardon me? You don't matter. Yeah, because Bobby's issues are far more important than yours anyway. Okay, how about this? This one we do a lot. So, what street were you on when you ran into Bobby? It's a reasonable question, you know, and like, how did you feel about your artwork? And were there any other people there? Why can't I ask questions? What is wrong with that? We do this with kids all the time. How was your day? I don't know. You know, because kids, well, first of all, kids are not able to go in the filing system and explain how their day was and then say what you want to hear. But when kids are talking, and I'm not just talking kids again, when anyone is talking, if we start asking a bunch of questions, you know what we're doing is we're insisting that the person tell the story the way we want them to tell the story. That's what asking all those questions is like. And for kids, when you start questioning them, it takes them out of the emotion. What we want to do, Gordon Neufeld talks about this, is we want to pull out the tears. We want the emotion to be discharged. We can discharge emotion in all kinds of ways, but the most effective way to discharge that negative emotion is to express it to a caring other. And if we cry, you know, that can really be a healthy discharge of those negative emotions. Now, questioning is something that can happen, only to get clarity, though. You know, so I'm sure you've all had the experience of listening to someone and kind of losing track of what they're saying. And you know that if they keep talking, you're just going to be completely lost. And so sometimes you need to say, wait a minute, by this did you mean that? And so clarifying is actually an effective listening tool. So the big thing that I'm doing right now is getting you familiar with the ways that we can shut down people. Okay, this you're going to love too. Okay, you know, that's really sad about your artwork, so I'm giving you some empathy here. But you know, when I go to Costco and I buy garbage bags, I get 1,000 per box. And I'm just thinking, if you took a garbage bag to school with you, you know, and you put your artwork in a garbage bag, then if it fell or you got pushed over or anything like that, your artwork would be fine because you'd have it in a bag. And the other thing, you know, another thing you could do is you could just make sure that you walk down Scott Street, because I know for a fact that Bobby is never on Scott Street. How about that? Solve a problem, advice giving, and a little bit of blame. You should have had, you know, you should have been walking on Scott Street. Taking over the problem. Now this is a really big one. Because if we do this, this will likely shut kids down. It's when we go in and we want to fix it. Okay, that's it. I'm going to talk to Bobby's mom right now, and I'm going to give her a piece of my mind. This has been going on long enough. And we march down and we have that conversation. So taking things over, fixing kids' problems will often send them underground because we can make things worse for them. The big message to the, you know, parents that spoke up last night whose boy was going through a hard time is whatever strategy you come up with, you have got to come up with a strategy with him. Something that he says, yes, that will be okay. And you guys all know what I'm talking about here, I think. Oh, you poor, poor darling. You must be so upset. I can't believe it. So you made this artwork just for me? And he just went and ruined it? That's awful. Sympathy makes you feel simply pathetic. What you do not need when you are expressing yourself is for someone to make it about them. You don't need that. And don't you find if someone gives you sympathy, you just kind of recoil? You go, you know what? I'm actually okay. How about you? How are you? You know? And so our kids need to know two things. They need to know, number one, that we can handle the feelings that they have. And that is huge, you know, especially as they get older and they go through bigger things and the feelings can come on much stronger. They need to know that you can handle it and it's not going to demolish you. And number two, that you understand how they're feeling, but those are the two pieces that are really huge.